So I'm gonna carry on the music theme again. The band kid in me is just singing my little heart out. I guess not really singing if it's a band kid. I'm playing my little heart out. And so we're gonna make it patriotic, but not. Just like with the Christmas quilts, when I've done all those make it Christmas patterns and they haven't been Christmas, we're gonna make it patriotic, but not patriotic. So I have a good fabric that I've had for years and I just love it so much, but I haven't had the right project for it. So I'm hoping that this is the right project for it and it doesn't lose its focus. So for this one, we're gonna be doing the United quilt because I liked those big blocks because I've got a good print that I need to go in those big blocks. So I've had this fabric because I just love it. It's so funny. And I never knew what to do with it because when I made music quilts to donate and stuff, it was much better to make them a little more neutral and appealing to all sorts of band audiences, because like black, white, cream, silver, gold, those are all very like regal and sophisticated feeling and would help raise money for the schools a little bit better. But I didn't figure out how to use these. I just love them so much. So these frogs, I remember exactly where I bought them. So there was a little fabric quilt shop in Davis where I've gone to do theater photos for, and I just happened in there one day because I either got there early or I knew there was a quilt shop, and this was on their clearance table as probably a yard or so. I think it's probably a yard. And it was too cute and it needed to come home with me. So this I've had for quite some time because I think I've been doing photos for the theater group for at least 8 years. And so when I was going through my stash to make this next round of quilts, this was one that I knew needed to go in there. And so I also inherited this fabric from my great aunt as a good coordinate. And so I had those two together and I was like, what color am I gonna pull to be kind of a solid, kind of rest your eye, because there's a whole lot going on with marching band frogs and green and blue stars. And so I got this yellow, which I believe is Kona corn yellow, to be my background fabric. So here's my triangle of fabric so you can see them all together. And so the frogs are gonna be the big square. And then, let's see what I wrote down. So the frogs are gonna be the big square. Where the white is, that's where the stars are gonna be, because I felt that would be a little bit better to let them kind of stand out in a bigger spot. And then the yellow is gonna be all the skinny kind of sashing pieces. With the blocks looking like this and having this little like block in a block, I'm intrigued to see how those piece together because I know they do a lot of strip piecing in these books. So we're gonna find out together to see how that all comes together and if it's as chaotic as half square triangles or if it's much simpler than it looks. So stay tuned. I'm gonna start cutting this out and then we're gonna march our little frogs to their final quilt form. So these are the main block units that are gonna be strip pieced. Here's our outside borders. 1,000 of these skinny little pieces for strip piecing. There's like 16 or 20 of this one. I was able to get the wider binding strips cut and I had enough left over, so here's my pillowcase ready to go. It's gonna be a little weird because this is my flange, and I think when it's folded, it's going to be, the top of the instruments are mostly black, and we're gonna miss out on these little froggy faces, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So, in the case of Kermit the Frog, let's hop to it and get his friends all sewn together and see how this looks. So now all our strip sets are cut. We've got 12 of these, 24 of these, and a bajillion of these. 96 to be exact. So I guess I'm going to start sewing these until I have all of the pairs, because I think they make a little 4-patch. So wish me luck. So we went from 96 of these to 47? No, 48. Whatever half of 96 is. And it's in this moment that I realized maybe I should have just swapped this out for like a solid black on these ones. There's some really good ones that are some frog legs. But we've committed. This is where we're at and this is what's going to happen. So what's going to happen next, as I move all these, is we're going to take one of these and then we're going to put one of these at the top and one of these at the bottom, and then those are going to go in between these to kind of give that cornerstone-y look. And then that's what's gonna make the block. So this is where it's gonna be all of these in the center. So we'll have some that are right side up, some that are sideways, some that are this way. So these little center blocks are gonna be super chaotic, but that's the price we have to pay these days. So I'm going to start piecing those and we'll see what it looks like when we get a single block done, and then we'll put them all together. Okay, so usually I wouldn't show you my chaos and mess, but because the weather is changing, somebody is being a little extra weird today. So she's burrowed herself into this pile of fabric scraps and batting, and you can see her tail's over here on this end, and her little pink snoot is over on this end. Are you feeling okay? Are you confused by the clouds? Oh, okay, bye. So here we have our block, and it's the same block throughout. So what's going to happen now is it's going to become 3 across, 4 down of these marching band frogs. And then after that's all done, I'll put some borders on, and it's going to be a finished quilt top. So let's sew some rows together and find some borders. So the United quilt top is marching its way through, and it's kind of a funny little one. So I think the frog fabric is hilarious. So I'm really glad I used it and that it stayed kind of as a focal. There are little things that I might have changed, and I can't remember if I said that earlier on here or if I just said it to my mom, but had I known how these blocks were gonna piece together, I probably would have changed these little bits in here for just a solid black Kona, because you'll see in the closer ups, if I didn't show you already, some of them have like frog legs in it, some of them have like a trumpet bell, some of them have a frog like eyeball. There's some weird frog bits in those little pieces, but it's amusing, so there's at least that going for it. But otherwise, I really like this pattern. It's kind of fun. If I was to enlarge this pattern using like the twin or king queen, what I would probably do is I would keep the B and C fabric, or fabrics 2 and 3, the same throughout, and then I would do different yardages for these ones. So like this one, 2 different like focal fabrics. So then your blocks could vary with the king queen. What I would probably do is I'd probably get 4 different ones. So then you would kind of have more of like a patchworky look and kind of use something from the same collection, kind of give it so that it's not the exact same all the way through. But then I would also consider keeping in mind these little lovely things and maybe picking a yard that's just for that, to kind of make sure that is cohesive. So then maybe these are 3 or 4 different ones of those. And then this is another additional one, but then keep the 2 and 3 the same. That's just what's bouncing around in my head right now. I haven't done any of the enlargement sizes, but I know people have asked me about them. So that's just my little thought on this one as far as if I was to enlarge it to a king, queen, or the twin size. Those are some thoughts of what I would do. So we're gonna be back real soon to quilt these little guys up, and I'm gonna be playing with some ideas in my head to see how I want to do that and what I want the thread to be. So in the meantime, let's take a close look so you can get a kick out of those little frog feet.